Good morning. Welcome. Grab your notebook, grab your journal, grab your tea or your favorite drink. Whatever time of the day you're watching, whether you're live with us or you're watching the replay, please say hello in the chat. Welcome. You're having a blessed morning or day or night, whatever time of the day you end up watching this. We'll go ahead and get started. All right, so hello and welcome. Welcome back if you've been with us, and welcome to your first day. If this is your first day, this is day 5 of our Hearts Made New Intentional Balance Challenge. It has been a week, and I'm glad you're here with me. Good things happening and a lot of moving parts. So, I am your host, Kelley Duren-Jones, and I am grateful that you are here taking this journey with me. This is something I started probably 5 or 6 years ago, just on my own as a healthy habit, creating an actual journal and working through the 21 days. And for the last, this is year 4, we've been doing this together. So, welcome. Again, if you're just joining us, say hello in the chat. Remember to subscribe and share as we're growing our platform. So, Hearts Made New 21-day intentional balance challenge. Just this journey is so much more um, than just finding balance in our schedules. You know, the word balance can be a little tricky in itself. But it's more than just finding time in our schedules or checking off a to-do list. It's about aligning our hearts, cleaning out our heart, ridding ourselves of all those things that don't belong there, that's giving us a pause, giving us a halt, causing us pain, causing us to be heavy. We're getting all those things into alignment by the grace of God. We're aligning our minds. We're working on our bodies. We talked a little bit about our physical space on day 1, because all of those pieces are a part of the pie. All of those things are a part of the purpose and peace that God has for us. So we're doing the work. We're committing to doing the work. Today, we're talking about the power of transforming. Hold on, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Today, we're talking about the power of transferring and cultivating gratitude as a heart posture. I thought I lost you for a minute. Good morning, everybody. I was like, oh no. Okay, let me focus. So today we're talking about cultivating gratitude as a part of heart posture. So we talk about gratitude a lot, in because it's necessary every single day. It's a part of my daily routine. And drop something in the chat if it's a part of your daily routine. It keeps me grounded, and we're going to talk about that today. It's a profound topic that I think we just kind of graze over. Yeah, you got to be thankful, you got to be grateful, but it has to be intentional, and it has a lot to do with your posture. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed how easily our focus drifts with what's missing instead of what's going well for the day? Sometimes it looks like, if you think about looking through the lens of a camera, it's literally zooming in on that one wrong thing or that bulk of pressure or stress that's going on today. You wake up, oh, today I got to do XYZ, XYZ. Instead of waking up saying, the first thing I'm going to do is just give thanks. It is thanks for the things that I know you're doing right now. And thanks for being grateful for the things that I know is going to be worked out. Right. So again, it's like looking through that camera lens that's just focused in on what you need to do, what you don't want to do, what's not going right. Or sometimes we're focusing on that one good thing and we're not dealing with all the things that are going on also that are in that picture. Sometimes we're focused in that the bills are due, not that we have the provision for today, that He's given us everything that we need already, and that it's going to work out just like it did before, right? Sometimes we need to remember what God has already done. Sometimes we see the prayers that feel unanswered instead of looking at what He's already done, the countless blessings and the countless things that are surrounding us that He's doing for other people in our lives or that we know, and what He has already done for us. So those unanswered prayers, we know, we have faith and we have hope that God is going to do what we need Him to do because He always does. He's our provider. It's like almost just scarcity is just comes by nature almost, it feels like. But once you get in the healthy habit of diverting that or diverting your mind, making the choice to say, I'm not just going to look at what looks like lack, what's wrong, or what looks wrong, or what looks like I don't have enough of. And to be honest, that scarcity mindset is just running rapid. And it quietly starts in your heart. Maybe you don't even notice it, but we have to learn to recognize it so that we can get rid of it as soon as it comes. It leaves us feeling empty. It leaves us feeling anxious, always chasing after the next thing. I used to say was always getting ready but never ready. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start this, and then okay, I'm not ready. I need to do these 5 things first. Okay, I'm gonna learn this skill. Okay, first I gotta do this other thing. There's always getting ready but never ready, and I had to change my mindset to say, what start something and finish it. And then there's always the pivot, right? Some things you need to pivot out of because it's time to move on, whether it's working well and you need to go higher, or whether it's not working and you need to pivot. So there's kind of some judgment there that you need to do. And it just comes from being scattered, that scarcity mindset. Okay, let me jump and do this out of fear. Let me jump and do this out of being anxious. I've made it a habit to not make decisions during stressful days, times, moments. Have you ever did something and you look back on it later like, what in the world made me do that? What in the world made me deal with that person? What in the world made me take this job? I just was in fear of just, oh, I need a job, I need a job, I need a job. I'm gonna take this job instead of doing what you need to do, taking the steps and sitting still sometimes and just listening to God. And that's in with your physical things that are happening, relationships. I remember, I'm just thinking about this because I just bought another Keurig recently. And I was like, and so a friend asked me, what happened to the other Keurig you had? Well, I was having a moment in the kitchen one day and I had no counter space. And I was like having a whole spaz out moment. I was like, I don't even use this thing. I haven't used this thing in forever. And I threw it away. A whole Keurig machine. Months later, I was like, what in the world? But that's just a silly example, but it's just an example of how you can make these crazy decisions in a moment of the hustle and bustle. So I've made a conscious decision that I don't do anything without, sleeping on it. That's partnerships, that's agreeing to speaking engagements, saying yes or no, because I've learned to let my yes be yes and my no be no. But sometimes you can speak too soon for both of those, right? And it's important that we're not just making hasty decisions. But here's the truth about the scarcity that's happening. Um, is cultivating a new posture of gratitude that dilutes and eventually gets rid of that scarcity. Because if you're thankful for what you know is what's going to happen, you don't have to be in that always, what am I going to do? What am I going to, what decisions do I have to make? Our scripture today is First Thessalonians 5 and 18, and it says, give thanks in all circumstances, for is the will is this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Notice it doesn't say give thanks for all circumstances. Give thanks for some of the circumstances or in the circumstance. It says give thanks in all circumstances. This is not about pretending everything is fine when it's not. So you're not thankful for the actual circumstance necessarily, but you're thankful for the provision that God has for you in that circumstance. There's a big difference. Everything, not pretending that everything is fine. And it's not about ignoring the hardship or the painful thing, but it's about choosing to see God's goodness, even in the middle of the circumstance. Why? Because gratitude shifts our perspective. At least it should. And it can. And sometimes it's just the fact of saying it, speaking it continuously until you see it happening. Not because you're faking it till you make it, but because you know you're going to make it. And so you just riding it on out. You just riding it out because you know that even when things are not good, God is good. Psalms 34 and 8 talks about God's goodness, finding joy and security and trusting Him. It says to taste and see. And that encourages us to actively engage with God. When you're tasting something, you're taking an action. You're tasting and see. You're having an experience. So food for me. Let's talk about food for a minute. Food for me is an experience. And so I enjoy eating. But what I had to learn is it can't be so it can be a positive and a negative because then the experience could be good. But if you're eating the wrong things, if you're using it as a cover, as a mask, as you know, things that may not be healthy, then it's a different type of experience. But God invites us to taste and see, and then he talks about that actively engages you with God. You're tasting and seeing, experiencing the faithfulness firsthand. Um, and then taking refuge. When I saw taking refuge, I'm like, what does refuge really mean? I mean, we know what it means, but let's break it down. It's going by, beyond passive beliefs. It involves intentionally trusting. Um, relying on and seeking safety, comfort, the security of in God, and especially during life challenges. Again, when things you're in the midst of the hustle and bustle, which seems to be a lot of the times, depending on what you have going on in your life, but taking refuge is so much deeper than just the surface. You're intentionally trusting, intentionally relying on God in that safe space, seeking safety, because you know that's where it is, right? Comfort and security in God, especially during all the hustle and bustle. So, this trust kind of mirrors finding shelter, offering peace and protection. That's what God gives us because In the midst of sometimes when you have so many things going on, as we talked about a little bit earlier, you're just kind of scattered. Maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try that. Okay, maybe just do that for now, and then later, you're like, that wasn't the best decision. So we have to learn how to trust in God and taste and see, like experience God's goodness. And how do you do that? So sometimes when I'm reading the Bible, I have to really think about how I can apply this word to my life. Not just sounds good, it's motivational, okay, but how do I actually apply these things to what I need to do and how it can change my situation? So when I think of taste and see, that means actually do the work, like actually try the thing, not just like, I hope I can get this job. But what do I need to do to get this job? I need to study up on the company. I need to know the whole thing that the job entails. If I don't have all of those skills, or maybe none of those skills, because I've seen people get jobs who have no experience in what they get the job in good jobs. It's because they've researched, they know what they need to do, and they've done so the work to increase their knowledge, to be ready to learn. That's just an example of what we need to do with God. We need to actually be obedient and take the first step. Apply for the job, you know, um, take the speaking offer, start writing the chapters of the book that you need to write. Whatever that thing is, we need to actually take the steps to get those done. So when you practice gratitude, let's get back to gratitude. You are actively rewiring your heart. You stop seeing life through that lens of scarcity, like we talked about, and we start seeing it through the lens of God's abundance, His love, His mercy, His favor. There are certain things that you're like, I'm not capable of doing that. I don't have any of those skills. I'm not strong enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm haven't lost the weight yet. I haven't did this. I haven't did that. I need to take a course before I write the book. All of those things, sometimes you just need to move because God gives us favor. He's already put people, things in place to get you to the place that you need to be. God doesn't um, gratitude, I should say, doesn't change your circumstance, but it puts you in a place where it does change you in the circumstance. I'm going to say that again. I have to think about how to say that. So, gratitude doesn't change your circumstances, but it does change you in your circumstances because you have gratitude. And I had to really grasp that it's me that needs to change. Yeah, this and that is going on, and things that are out of my control, I have to give to God. Things that I can change or change me to help the situation, I can do that. But gratitude does not change your circumstances, but it does change you in the circumstance, which makes the lens of what you're seeing about that circumstance different. I hope that makes sense. If that makes sense, let me know. And it opens your eyes to the goodness that God has had for you, even before the circumstance happened, before the change happened, before the pain happened, before the good thing happened. That you're like, I used to be, like, oh, I want my business to grow. What if my business grows? Like you want it, and then you're like, but what if? Then what do I do? But if God has put you there, He has provision for you to grow there and to do what you need to do. And I had to realize and remind myself all the time that it's not about me. I'm not doing all of this for me. There's benefits for me, but it's everything that we do, our testimony is to help someone else. So in the midst of, when you're thinking, what if this, what if I mess up? Then you learn the lesson and you move on. What if it doesn't work out? Then you learn the lesson and you move on. You learn to listen and be obedient so maybe you don't make the same mistakes. Or maybe you needed to go through that before you get to the next level of what God has for you. So just cutting off that camera lens and just of your own eyes and turning on what God has for you. It softens that hardened heart when you're thankful in the midst of everything. You're just like, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm thankful that I made it through. I don't know why I was in that car accident, but I'm grateful that I made it through. And there were some lessons in it. There were some things I didn't know about myself that was still there that I needed to rid myself of. And I only saw it after the accident. I only saw it when that person treated me some kind of way, when I realized I allowed them to do it. So, do I really love myself if I'm allowing this person to treat me this way? Maybe I need to work on how to love myself. So, I'm thankful that those things happen. I don't want them to happen again. So I want to learn the lesson so that I don't have to go through it again. But sometimes in the midst of all these things, and I think I've talked to a few of you, so I know we have some stuff going on. But in the midst of this stuff going on, be grateful, have gratitude. Um, Sit still and listen to God and thank Him for not necessarily, this circumstance, just being honest, just being human. I'm not thankful for being in a car accident, but I'm thankful for the lesson that I learned through it. I'm not thankful for those horrible relationships I had, but I'm thankful for what I learned that, if I loved myself the way I thought I did, I wouldn't have let that person treat me that way, at least not for that long. Let me just say that. So, how do we I always look at like, what do I need to do to be in the space of what I'm learning right now? So, how do we practice gratitude? How do we cultivate gratitude as a heart posture? Because that's our theme for the next 21 days. So, to cultivate gratitude as a heart posture, we can first start off by shifting the perspective, shifting what you see in the lens. You just see this part, and there's a whole frame with other stuff going on all around it, right? Shifting it, even in the midst of all of the storms, even in the midst of the good things, the growth and the prosperity that we're also experiencing, because we're not just in no hole and everything is bad, but we're thankful for it's easy to be thankful for the good things. It's easy to be thankful when things are feeling well. We talked about feelings yesterday on day 4, but when things seem to be flowing, and so we can be grateful easier in those moments, but we also have to do it in the middle of the circumstances, regardless of the circumstances. So think about rain often. So I love flowers. I've become a gardener. And that sounds crazy to me because I never thought ever in a million years I would be putting my hands in any kind of dirt unless I fell in it or something. I don't know. But so when I think about the rain and how I pray for rain, and one of my other friends is just like, when it's raining, she's like, "Are you over there praying for rain? It's raining, and I gotta go outside, And I'm like, la la la, because I love rain. So, but it's not always welcome. It's not always convenient, but it serves a purpose. Rain cleanses, refreshes, it nourishes, it forces and allows roots to grow deeper. It provides stability. It's essential for growth. Like we need it. Doesn't always feel good. It's not always convenient. But without rain, there are no flowers. The forest would be in trouble. If we think about the forest fires, they encourage. They're like, "Oh, please, we need this rain." But practicing gratitude in the hard season is like recognizing the value of rain while you're still in it, while you're still in the circumstances. You know that maybe this is needed for me to get to the next level. For what, and sometimes we don't even know why. It doesn't stop the storm, but it helps you see that this is a challenging season and is preparing you, right? It strengthens your faith. We're talking about the rain of our heart or the rain that's happening spiritually. And it's maturing something within you that the sunny day can't do. If you If we had, most of us like sun and good weather, but if we had that every day, if we didn't have rain, think about what would happen to the earth. And we've had some droughts and it just wasn't good. It's just built problems upon problems. So gratitude is cultivating one thought, one action, and one moment at a time, just building upon those blocks. So start by, noticing the small blessings around you. And there's really no small blessings. Like I say, there's no small wins. A blessing is a blessing and a win is a win, right? So start noticing every little thing and being appreciative of it, even if you may not understand it. Write them down, reflect on it. I'm a journaler. So I write everything down, and to reflect back on it, because sometimes you don't understand it while you're in it. And then let gratitude just cover the things that you don't understand. Thank someone personally. Sometimes I'm in a store or something and I'll just be extra thankful to somebody. Oh my goodness, thank you. I was looking for that, whatever. And you'll be surprised how your gratitude can brighten their day and allow them to be like, oh, thank you. Pour some sunshine on somebody, encourage somebody. Just pause and simply appreciate something beautiful around you, a flower, a desk, a beautiful pen, a beautiful glass, whatever your thing is that seems to be beautiful. Um, Pause and just be grateful, and you'll begin to see life, you'll begin to see God through things differently. Nature does that for me. Watching the flower go from a seed or a small plant to a beautiful flower, it just brightens my heart. Find the thing that allows you to see God in something that He created, and look through the lens of abundance and not scarcity, of grace. Look through that lens and try to see God in the situation and be thankful, even if, you don't know what's going to happen next. Just be thankful. So, your journaling prompt for today, and I hope this blessed somebody. Um, my morning ritual is to, before I get out the bed, I say three things that I'm grateful for. So I start off every day with gratitude before I start thinking about, let me look at the phone, let me rush through this, let me do that. Start off with gratitude. It'll change your day. But for your journaling prompt today, just take a moment and write down five small, um, I just don't like the word small. Write down five things that you may have overlooked that you should be thankful for. It could be small, it can be big, however you consider it. Don't just list them, but write one sentence for each one explaining why you're thankful for it. Just kind of a exercise for being thankful. For example, I'm thankful for the sound of the birds outside my window. I'm thankful for it did rain, and rain brings fresh air. Whatever it is, I'm thankful that I made it to work on time, that my back isn't hurt. Whatever it is, choose five things and write a sentence of what you're thankful for. And then choose one person that you don't normally talk to, if you can, you know, have that happen. I don't know what your day looks like, and just say thank you, or send a text to someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Let's express some thanking them for just being who they are. Brighten somebody else's day with gratitude, because it's catchy, it's contagious. Write a short email to somebody in your organization to say, you know what, thank you for blah 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 blah, whatever it is. And let's let it be a true. We gotta make nothing up. Let it be true, because there are some things that we're thankful for. Um, and then write a note to yourself, just a little blurb to yourself in your journal, or however you want to do it. Just being thankful for allowing yourself to show up for yourself, in different areas, for this challenge, for something that's going on in your life, for pushing through something, for just being you. So I wanted to share that journal prompt for you today. And this is how we cultivate the habit of gratitude: one thought, one action, one moment at a time. And we'll just begin to see things differently. We're not going by our feelings because you may feel the same way you felt. And that's okay because, as we talked about yesterday, feelings are not facts. We just want to see God for who He is and experience Him. We want to taste and see. We want to experience God. And we want other people to be able to experience Him through us. We don't have to beat people over the head with the Bible. They should see God through you smiling when everybody else is like, "What are we gonna do? The office is going crazy," and you're like, "Well, let's see." They should see God through you in the things in everyday life because, as I said, this is a life application process. And we'll begin to see ourselves differently. You'll notice things about yourself, and sometimes your heart will just smile. So, thank you for joining me for day 5. I hope this has blessed you and gave you some insight. I look forward to doing the work today, and I know you will do the work as well. We've been here for this 5 days. Whether this is you've been here for all 5 days or one of the days, or they're all in the channel. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, and remember that gratitude is a choice today and every day, and you're choosing to see the goodness of God in your life. So, tomorrow, day 6, Saturdays and Sundays will be a little lighter, a little shorter. Um, it'll kind of wrap up the week, and it will allow us to really do the hard work. Our topic for tomorrow, what is our topic for tomorrow? Let's see, day 6. I don't remember. I think it's walking in faith. Yep, walking in faith despite fear is our topic for tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. Make sure you say your prayer for today and remember to show up, be intentional, and expect great things. Say hello in the chat or replay in the chat. Drop a nugget that blessed you or something that God spoke to you about today regarding gratitude. Let's share with each other and have an amazing day.